You just heard the sound of two black holes colliding. Not a sound in the traditional sense, since there's no air in space to carry sound waves. What you heard was a translation, a cosmic echo converted into audio so our human ears can perceive it. This is the sound of space-time itself being violently shaken, ripples emanating from a cataclysm so powerful that it literally warped the fabric of reality. That collision happened over 1 billion light-years away. The black holes that created it were spinning around each other for millions of years before they finally came together in a fraction of a second. And the energy released in that final moment? In less than a second, 3 times the mass of our sun was converted directly into pure energy, unleashed as gravitational waves rippling across the cosmos at light speed. Today, we're diving into what happens when the most extreme objects in the universe collide. Before we can understand what happens when black holes collide, we need to shift our perspective on what a black hole actually is. We tend to think of them as objects, massive cosmic vacuum cleaners sucking everything into oblivion. But that's not quite right. A black hole isn't really a thing. It's a place. A region of space-time so severely warped that the normal rules of physics break down entirely. Space and time, they're not separate. They're woven together into a single fabric that makes up the structure of our universe. Every piece of matter, every star, every planet curves this fabric just by existing. The more massive something is, the deeper the curve. Earth creates a gentle dip. The sun creates a deeper well. But a black hole, it doesn't just curve space-time. It tears a hole clean through it. Einstein predicted this over a century ago with his theory of general relativity, though even he wasn't entirely sure these things could actually exist in nature. But they do. They form when massive stars many times heavier than our sun, reach the end of their lives and collapse in on themselves. The core compacts down and down and down until it reaches a point of infinite density, a singularity where our understanding of physics simply gives up. What's left isn't an object, it's a gravitational wound in the universe. Now, imagine 2 of these wounds spiraling toward each other through the darkness of space. They've been orbiting each other for eons, gradually getting closer, losing energy to something we couldn't even detect until very recently called gravitational waves. Every orbit, they radiate a tiny bit of energy outward as ripples in space-time itself. These ripples spread across the universe at the speed of light, stretching and squeezing everything they pass through by infinitesimal amounts. For most of the black hole's journey together, these waves are weak, undetectable, lost in the cosmic noise. But as they get closer, the waves get stronger, and in the final moments before collision, when they're whipping around each other hundreds of times per second, space-time doesn't just ripple, it screams. This is what we heard, not the black holes themselves, but the violent shaking of reality as 2 of the most massive objects in the universe became one. And here's the remarkable thing. For decades, we had no way to detect any of this. We could see the aftermath of black hole activity through X-rays and radiation from their accretion disks, but the actual moment of collision and the gravitational waves themselves, that was purely theoretical, until 2015. September 14th, 2015, 2 facilities in the United States, one in Louisiana and one in Washington State, both picked up the same signal within milliseconds of each other. It was a chirp, a rising frequency that lasted less than 1/4 of a second, and it changed everything. This was LIGO, the Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory, and it had just detected gravitational waves for the first time in human history. The signal came from two black holes, 29 and 36 times the mass of our Sun, that had collided over 1.3 billion years ago. The waves from that collision had been travelling through space ever since, and on that September morning, they finally reached Earth. So how does LIGO actually work? How do you detect something as subtle as a ripple in space-time? The facilities use lasers. Each LIGO detector has two arms, each stretching 4 kilometers in a perfect L shape. A laser beam is split and sent down both arms simultaneously, bouncing off mirrors at the far ends and returning to the starting point. Under normal circumstances, the two beams return at exactly the same time and cancel each other out. But when a gravitational wave passes through, it does something extraordinary. It stretches space in one direction while squeezing it in the other. One arm of the detector becomes slightly longer while the other becomes slightly shorter. The laser beams no longer sync up perfectly, and that tiny mismatch creates an interference pattern that the detectors can measure. And when I say tiny, I mean incomprehensibly tiny. LIGO can detect changes in distance smaller than 1/10,000th the width of a proton. It's like measuring the distance between Earth and the nearest star to within the width of a human hair. The precision required is almost offensive to common sense. And it has to be that sensitive, because even the most violent events in the universe only shake space-time by these minuscule amounts by the time the waves reach us. That first detection in 2015 was just the beginning. In the years since, LIGO has been joined by Virgo in Italy and Kagra in Japan, creating a global network of gravitational wave detectors. Together, they've logged nearly 300 black hole mergers, 300 separate collisions, each one representing a cosmic cataclysm billions of years in the making. The detectors undergo constant upgrades. Every improvement means they can see farther, hear fainter signals, catch events that would have been invisible just a few years ago. And what they're hearing now is beyond anything we imagined. In January 2025, LIGO detected a signal designated GW250114. It wasn't the most massive merger, it wasn't the most distant, but it was the clearest gravitational wave signal ever recorded. The signal-to-noise ratio was off the charts, about 3 times better than that first detection in 2015. This wasn't just hearing a whisper from across the universe, this was hearing it in high definition. Every few days now, somewhere in the universe, 2 black holes find each other in the darkness and merge, and we hear it, every single time. We've gone from wondering if gravitational waves even existed to casually cataloguing hundreds of these collisions. We're living through a revolution in astronomy, one where we're not just seeing the universe, we're feeling it shake. But some of these collisions are more remarkable than others. Some break records, some defy our expectations, and some prove that even the greatest minds in physics didn't have all the answers. Let's talk about the record breakers. We've already mentioned GW250114 from January 2025, the clearest signal ever recorded. But recent years have brought us detections that challenge our understanding of how black holes form and grow. In November 2023, LIGO and Virgo detected GW231123, producing a final black hole weighing 225 solar masses, spinning near the theoretical maximum. These extremely massive stellar black holes are approaching intermediate mass territory, teaching us about the upper limits of what stellar processes can create. But the most intriguing discovery came earlier. May 21st, 2019, LIGO detected GW190521. When scientists analysed the data, they found something that defied conventional astrophysics. Two black holes, one at 66 solar masses and another at 85 solar masses, had collided 7 billion years ago to form a 142 solar mass black hole. Here's the problem: those masses shouldn't exist. When a massive star dies in a supernova, it can create black holes up to about 65 solar masses. That's the upper limit. Stars more massive than 130 solar masses undergo something different: pair instability supernovae. The core photons become so energetic, they transform into electron-positron pairs, reducing the outward pressure. The collapse is catastrophic, and the explosion completely obliterates the star. No remnant left behind. This creates the pair instability mass gap, a forbidden zone between 65 and 120 solar masses, where stellar black holes cannot form through normal stellar death. Yet LIGO detected an 85 solar mass black hole right in the middle of this forbidden zone. The answer is hierarchical mergers. The 85 solar mass black hole didn't form from a single star. It formed from two smaller black holes merging, likely in the 40 to 50 solar mass range. Those merged, creating the 85 solar mass black hole, which then drifted through space for millions of years until it found another black hole and merged again. The resulting 142 solar mass black hole is definitively second generation, possibly third. And this was the first direct evidence of an intermediate mass black hole ever detected through gravitational waves. Intermediate mass black holes are the missing link between stellar black holes and supermassive giants at galaxy centers. GW190521 confirmed they exist and showed us how they form. This discovery revealed the pathway. First-generation black holes from massive stars merge to create second-generation black holes. Those merge to create third generation. Generation after generation, over billions of years in dense environments like globular clusters and galactic centers, these objects grow. 100 solar masses becomes 1,000. 1,000 becomes 10,000. Eventually, you get the supermassive black holes we see today, millions or billions of solar masses at the hearts of galaxies. Then came the detections from October and November 2024, GW241011 and GW241110. These provided the strongest evidence yet for this hierarchical process. One of the black holes was spinning backwards relative to its orbital motion, a configuration nearly impossible for a first-generation black hole. This was the smoking gun, clear proof of a black hole born from a previous merger. This confirmed what theorists suspected: black holes can merge repeatedly. The objects LIGO detects today might be third or fourth generation, products of multiple merger events spanning billions of years. And there's one more remarkable confirmation. In the 1970s, Stephen Hawking proposed the area theorem: the surface area of a black hole's event horizon can never decrease. When two black holes merge, the final area must equal or exceed the sum of the original areas. It was beautiful theoretical physics connecting gravity to thermodynamics. But for decades, it was just mathematics. In 2015, as LIGO prepared to begin operations, Hawking asked if the detectors would be sensitive enough to test his theorem. The answer was a yes. Hawking died in 2018, 7 months before LIGO's first rough confirmation with 95% confidence. But with more detections and better data, that confidence has now reached 99.99%. Every merger confirms it. The final black hole always has at least as much surface area as its parents combined. Hawking's theorem stands, tested by the universe itself. These discoveries, the hierarchical mergers, they're rewriting our understanding of cosmic evolution. Black holes don't just destroy, they build. through successive generations of collisions, they grow from stellar remnants into the galactic titans that dominate the universe today. But what does this all mean for the bigger picture? Let's zoom out. So we've detected nearly 300 black hole mergers. We've confirmed Einstein's equations work under the most extreme conditions imaginable. Gravitational fields billions of times stronger than anything we can create. Velocities approaching light speed. Energies beyond our particle accelerators. Every prediction matches the data to extraordinary precision. These detections aren't just confirming old theories, they're rewriting our understanding of cosmic evolution. For over 13 billion years, black holes have been finding each other, merging, growing. The supermassive black holes at galaxy centers, millions and billions of solar masses, are the end products of countless collisions stretching back to the dawn of time. Black holes can grow, but they can't split apart. Over cosmic timescales, the universe concentrates more mass into these gravitational monsters. When galaxies collide, their central black holes eventually find each other and merge, creating even larger ones, an endless cycle. But where does it end? The most likely scenario, the universe expands forever, galaxies drift apart. Eventually, everything becomes cold, dark, and empty, the heat, death. Black holes will be the last objects, slowly evaporating through Hawking radiation over incomprehensible timescales. But there's another possibility, the Big Crunch. This theory holds that the universe's expansion might eventually stop and reverse, pulled back together by gravity. If that happens, everything changes. As space contracts, billions of black holes scattered across the cosmos would be pulled back into range of each other. This would trigger a cascade of mergers. Black holes currently separated by millions of light years would drift close enough to interact. The merger rate would explode. As the universe continues shrinking, those merged black holes would find each other and merge again. Third generation, fourth generation, 10th generation black holes with masses beyond anything existing today. The mergers would accelerate faster and faster as space itself shrinks. In the final stages, supermassive black holes would collide, creating hypermassive black holes of incomprehensible scale. The gravitational waves would be unimaginable. Eventually, all black holes would be forced together and merge into one ultimate singularity, containing all the mass, energy, and information that has ever existed. This final black hole would then devour space-time itself. Every atom, every photon, every fundamental particle pulled past the event horizon. The universe would end with the ultimate collision. Here's the eerie part. Our universe began as a singularity, the Big Bang. If it ends by collapsing into another singularity, some wonder if this could trigger another Big Bang. A cycle of cosmic death and rebirth, repeating forever, with black hole mergers playing a central role in each ending. For now, it's speculation. All evidence points to continued expansion, not contraction. The Big Crunch is unlikely, but the possibility reminds us black holes aren't just objects in the universe. They're fundamental to how it works. They concentrate mass and energy, shape galaxy evolution, and connect the quantum world to the cosmic scale. In extreme scenarios, they could potentially end or restart the universe itself.